At the post-fight press conference, Dana came out, sat there and said, he's the GOAT. Simple as that. He's the greatest of all time, which has sparked a lot of debate online as to who the greatest of all time is. And again, here we go with this thing, which is just truly, it's a matter of opinion. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of opinion. But Jon Jones, who is definitely in everybody's conversation, maybe he is, maybe he isn't because of the steroids. You know what I mean? But either way, you know, Jon Jones' name has to be brought into the conversation. And he was not a happy camper on Saturday night. I don't know if you saw the tweets.
I did.
I don't know if we can bring any of those tweets up, but he was just going on and on and on that he was disrespected.
He was trying to be respectful at first. He was trying to be like, congrats, Khabib, but he was just like, he couldn't handle it. His ego got in the way.
Yeah, and then he came out and he was saying, you know, listen, I've worked so hard for 15 years. I've had, I forget how many title fights, 15 title fights. He said Khabib had 4th. That was his 4th world title fight. I've had 15 and I've won them all. And you're going to put Khabib in there before me? But you got to remember, Jon Jones tested what, twice? Tested positive twice for steroids. And I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that takes you out of the conversation? I want to congratulate Khabib for an outstanding career. I know he made his father, along with millions of fans around the world, just incredibly proud today. God continue to bless him on his journey. That's not the tweet I was looking for, but it's very nice. And then it continues. You know, it went downhill from there. But then he was just a little pissed off that he wasn't getting the respect.
Yeah, I can actually pull up the tweets if you want. I think Harrington actually put them in that email.
Yeah.
So why don't I do that in the meantime? I mean,
we don't need to go through them all. He's just pissed off. He was just there Saturday night.
He went off on a little bit of a tirade and was like, you know, it's even ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. I mean, look, Jon Jones makes a point. If I'm Jon Jones, I completely understand that side of it. You know, but I think that asterisk is enough to... Asterisk is enough to take Jon Jones out of that #1 spot. I'm sorry, you know, and look, it sucks, but let's get real. This is a fake fantasy thing. It's not real. It's like saying who's got the prettiest fucking unicorn. Who cares, Jon Jones? You're making a lot of money. You're going up to heavyweight. You're a bazillionaire. You're one of the most talented athletes in the world. Who really gives a shit? But you can't complain if you got caught using steroids a couple of times in your career, and you can definitely erase that. We've already forgiven Jon Jones. We already talk about him like he's in the pound for pound conversation. It's not like we're holding it over his head that much, but give Khabib his due. He's never been caught using steroids. He's a completely untarnished, perfect, unblemished record. You know, it's pretty goddamn impressive what Khabib did.
And he only lost 2 rounds throughout the entire course of his career. No controversy, no steroids, was never stripped. You got to remember Jon Jones, and you're right. If I'm Jon, I feel the same way. I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you forgotten what I've done over the last 10 years or so? You know, and what Jon Jones has done over the last 10 years is outstanding. But as you say, the asterisks are there and they are prevalent. They are big. They are glaring. They are glowing. They are shining like stars in the universe. The asterisks are there. You know what I mean? They're fucking...
Jon Jones looks up into the night sky. He doesn't see stars. He sees asterisks.
And Khabib just sees stars. You know what I mean? George St-Pierre just sees stars. Maybe should be a couple of asterisks. Who else? Henry Cejudo, Demetrius Johnson, lots of stars. Anderson Silva and Jon Jones, they're on another planet. They're looking at asterisks in the sky. That's what they look at, you know?
Yeah, dude, instead of planets, it's question marks. There's asterisks.
Question marks.
You know?
I mean, listen, when you talk pound for pound, and then DC and John Anik at the weekend, they gave their little top 5 list. It's the same names, right? It's George St-Pierre, it's Anderson Silva, it's Jon Jones, it's Khabib, Demetrius Johnson. I would say they're your top contenders. Is there anybody that I'm missing? Brian or Harrington or Lewis? If you think of any, throw it my way. Henry Cejudo was in there. DC is an honorable mention as well. But if you had to go through all them, Lewis, who would be your one?
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say it has to be Khabib. Khabib has to be #1 pound for pound, completely undefeated. There's, you know, there's a real case to make for Adesanya. We talked about that after his last performance. Real incredible.
Yeah.
I think he still needs a few more big wins. He needs to show the same type of dominance that we've seen from Khabib, from Jon Jones, even Anderson Silva in his heyday. You know, he's just there. But I can see Adesanya coming into that role. You know,
yeah.
Jon Jones needs to, honestly, he needs to erase And I think we've said this, he's doing it with the heavyweight move. He needs to erase that memory of those asterisks. And once he does that, and I think he can, it's not that crazy. We forgive and forget in the sport, right? Just this is the way that people are just in general. Everyone's very fair weather. But I think that the unblemished record of Khabib, the fact that he was the way he's dominated everybody, the way he went out on top, what a fucking baller move. Nobody does it. Everyone says they want to do it. Nobody does it.
Yeah, okay. Greatest of all time. It's either Khabib or George St-Pierre. Yeah, Khabib. He went out on top. He was unbeaten. He only ever lost 2 rounds in his entire career. And I don't think we'll ever see him fight again either, by the way.
And I don't even know why I didn't think about George, but it's interesting you bring him up. He's just too inactive. I almost feel like if George just stayed in the sport, he would be right there. Because having losses in your career, I don't think that it means that much, especially if you avenge them. Because George avenged his 2 losses. I mean, not only avenge them, but avenge them and then some. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he put a beat down on Matt Serra. He went and finished Matt Hughes. Essentially, in a weird way, I respect the guy who avenges the loss more than the guy who's never tasted defeat.
Yes, and that's great, and it's all well and good, and it is a beautiful story, and it is good, but the fact remains that Matt Hughes did still kick his ass and armbar him, and nobody kicked Khabib's ass. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't kick his ass. Matt Serra beat the shit out of Matt Serra.
No. Matt Hughes beat him, kicked his ass, took him down. However, your parameter of getting your ass kicked. If I get picked up, slammed, and then someone takes fucking arm bars me, right? You got finished, mate. You got your ass kicked.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I don't know what your parameters of getting your ass kicked. You know what I mean? But if you get picked up, slammed, beaten up a little bit, and then armbarred, come on. You were finished. That's getting your ass kicked.
If memory serves, George won that round. He did lose. He got armbarred with 1 second left in the round.
It doesn't matter. He got fucking finished, Lewis. It doesn't. It's like it's trying to make an argument. Oh, Khabib, Justin kind of won that fight. He kind of, because I mean, let's be honest. He won round 1. And he was doing okay in round 2 until he got choked out, fucking unconscious. Okay, Lewis, I get your point. He was doing all right. Yeah, but he got fucking armbarred. Okay, as simple as that. He got finished. But it's Khabib. He ends up on top. He finishes on top. He retires on top. He's the champion. He's walking away, one of the biggest stars in the sport. And I just thought it was beautiful.